Have you ever stopped to think what it would be like to live with the certainty that you have already won? Imagine facing challenges with serenity, knowing that the end result is already in your favor. Is this possible? In today's video, we'll explore an approach that can transform your mindset and bring unshakable calm, inspired by the great masters of Stoicism. If you believe that life is unpredictable and that controlling the future is impossible, you are right. But Stoicism teaches something powerful. No matter what happens, you already have the key to winning. Today, you will learn how this philosophy can shape your worldview, bringing more serenity, resilience, and purpose to your journey. Part 1. Stoicism and the I. Perception of control. Stoicism leads us to an almost visceral reflection on the nature of control, a concept that, at the same time, comforts and challenges us. Imagine the vastness of events that cross our lives, like leaves carried by the wind, dancing just out of reach of our hands. Stoic philosophy does not try to grasp these leaves, but teaches the art of observing their trajectory with serenity. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, expressed it crystal clear: you have power over your mind, not over external events. There is a raw, transformative power in this thought, a wisdom that reminds us that mastery is not in the world around us, but in the innermost territory of our own being. When we are faced with situations that seem to be completely out of control, it is natural to feel the urgency to react, to fix, to change the unchangeable. However, the Stoics ask us to pause. Wait, they seem to say. Reflect before acting. It is in this gap between impulse and response that freedom lies, not because we can shape the world, but because we can shape our response to it. And that, however subtle it may seem, is an extraordinary power. Think about how many times we let ourselves be consumed by something that, in reality, we couldn't change. A misplaced word by someone else, an unexpected circumstance that crossed our path, a plan that fell apart without warning. These moments often become the center of our preoccupation, draining our energy, our peace, and ultimately our ability to act with clarity. Stoicism, however, is like a beacon in the midst of the storm, illuminating the difference between what belongs in our domain and what does not. And in doing so, he sets us free. This distinction, simple in theory, is ongoing work in practice. Every day, every moment, we are faced with decisions that test our understanding of this wisdom. It is not an automatic process, but a conscious choice, an effort to redirect our attention and energy to what we can influence. The Stoics remind us that in doing so, we are not only avoiding unnecessary suffering, but building a life of purpose and meaning. There is also something profoundly liberating in this teaching, recognizing that we don't need to carry the weight of the world on. Our shoulders is like letting go of an anchor that tied us to the bottom of a sea of anxiety. It is the acceptance that our responsibility is limited to our own being and that this in itself is enough. There's an almost paradoxical beauty to this freedom. By limiting our focus to what is within our control, we expand our possibilities to act in meaningful ways. Stoicism does not offer a refuge from life's difficulties. Instead, he equips us to face them with a courage that comes not from physical strength, but from mental clarity. He teaches us to transform chaos into order, doubt into certainty, and powerlessness into power. And in doing so, it reminds us that true victory lies not in what we achieve externally, but in what we master internally. Part 2. Acceptance is not resignation. Acceptance, often misunderstood as submission or weakness, is actually one of the boldest acts a human being can perform. It's not about bowing your head in the face of adversity, but about facing them with deliberate calm, recognizing that resisting the inevitable is wasting precious energy. It is like a traveler who encounters a storm on the high seas. He cannot silence the thunder or stop the fury of the waves, but he can adjust the sails, steady the rudder, and thereby preserve his journey. Thus, acceptance is not an end, but a means of moving forward. In life, there is a constant call for us to fight against circumstances as if the battle itself is a sign of strength. But Stoicism invites us to look beyond this simplistic view. He suggests that true strength lies in understanding the nature of things and acting in harmony with it. This does not mean resigning yourself to suffering, but choosing battles wisely, investing energy where it can make an impact. It's a reminder that there are times when fighting is like punching the wind, exhausting and, in the end, futile. Imagine someone who unexpectedly loses a job. The immediate reaction may be one of revolt or despair, as if the universe were conspiring against her. However, by adopting a Stoic perspective, this person would recognize that the lost job is one of many variables outside of their control. What is within your power is your reaction. Seek new opportunities, improve your skills, or even reevaluate your career. In this act of acceptance and deliberate action, she transforms a loss into a possibility for growth. Accepting is not settling. It is an active act of clarity and courage. It's looking at the world and recognizing that although many things slip through our hands, that doesn't make us powerless. In fact, it is in this distinction between what we can and cannot change that our greatest strength lies. When we choose to focus on what is possible, we open a path to transformation. It's not easy, and it often requires more mental than physical effort, but the result is a sense of peace that transcends circumstances. Stoicism challenges us to redefine our understanding of victory. Instead of seeing it as something external, achievements, possessions, or recognition, he reminds us that true victory lies in how we handle life's ups and downs, accepting what we cannot. Control is, paradoxically, one of the most liberating acts we can perform. It's a silent yet powerful statement that although the world is unpredictable, we still have power over ourselves. There is something deeply poetic about choosing to accept. It is not an act of surrender, but an act of wisdom. It is the refusal to expend energy against the inevitable, redirecting it to where it can create change. It's like watering a plant instead of complaining about the rain. A simple choice, but full of meaning. In the end, Stoicism teaches us that acceptance is the fertile ground where courage and serenity flourish. Part 3, a hypothetical story. Stoicism leads us to a fascinating understanding of human resilience. He does not teach us to avoid difficulties, but to face them with an almost artistic stance, as if each adversity were an opportunity to compose something significant on the canvas of life. This philosophy reminds us that we are not just victims of circumstances, but co-authors of the plot in which we find ourselves. Epictetus said that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but the judgment we make of them. And in this small but crucial detail, we find the key to transforming pain into learning. Imagine a fictional character, someone whose life has suddenly been turned upside down. Maybe she lost something of immense value, a friendship, a dream, or even a part of herself. It is at this moment that the true essence of Stoicism manifests itself. Instead of succumbing to despair, she asks herself, what can I create from this chaos? And by asking this question, it begins to shape your narrative. Loss, once a bottomless abyss, becomes a starting point for a new trajectory. The Stoics did not see difficulties as punishments, but as challenges designed to test and strengthen our souls. They believed that just as gold is refined by fire, we are shaped by the difficult experiences we face. There is no virtue without effort, and it is in the confrontation with obstacles that we discover what we are made of. This perspective turns every setback into a kind of potential. Victory, a chance to grow, to learn, and most of all, to persevere. It's tempting to see resilience as something innate, a quality that some possess and others don't. However, Stoicism shows us that it can be cultivated. With every choice we make to get up after a fall, we are building our ability to resist. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending it doesn't exist, but about looking at it as a tool, something that can be used to become stronger, wiser, more whole. There is a strange and powerful beauty to this approach, Facing adversity with courage is not denying its existence, but recognizing it as an inevitable part of the human experience. It's accepting that suffering, although painful, is also one of life's greatest teachers. And by adopting this perspective, we discover that even the darkest moments have the potential to enlighten us. Stoicism is not a promise to avoid the storms of life. Instead, it offers us an inner shelter, a fortress of resilience and clarity that no wind can overturn. He invites us to see challenges not as barriers, but as stepping stones. And when climbing those steps, we realize that the view from above, built with effort and courage, is one of the most rewarding we can experience. Part 4, Think Like a Stoic. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that virtues are the fundamental pillar of a life well lived. This is not a distant ideal or one reserved for a few enlightened people, but something that is within the reach of everyone who commits to living with intention. Virtue. 4. The Stoics is not an abstract concept, but a daily practice, a continuous effort to align thoughts, words, and actions with what is just and good. Zeno of Citium, the founder of this philosophy, saw virtue as the path to true happiness, a happiness that does not depend on external circumstances, but on inner integrity. Consider an ordinary person facing the everyday challenges we all know. In every decision, no matter how trivial it may seem, there is an opportunity to choose virtue or deviate from it. Whether dealing with the irritation of slow traffic, a colleague's impatience, or life's unexpected demands, there is always a moment of choice. For the Stoic, these small choices are not insignificant, but rather the building blocks with which we build our character. And character, more than anything else, is what defines who we really are. Stoicism does not seek perfection, but conscious intention. He recognizes that we are imperfect by nature and that we will stumble along the way. However, every stumble is an opportunity to rise with more determination. It is this constant practice, this insistence on returning to the path of virtue, that transforms us. It is not the absence of mistakes, but the way we deal with them that reveals our inner strength. There is something profoundly liberating about living according to virtue. By choosing what is right over what is easy, we free ourselves from the traps of guilt and regret. We live with a clear conscience, knowing that we did the best we could with the knowledge and resources we had at the time. This peace of mind is perhaps one of the greatest rewards that Stoicism has to offer. It is the certainty that regardless of what happens around us, we remain firm in our principles. Virtue, however, is not something we practice in isolation. It manifests itself in our relationships with others, in how we treat those around us, in how we contribute to the well-being of the community. Stoicism teaches us that we are part of a greater whole, that our actions have an impact beyond ourselves. This perspective encourages us to live not only for ourselves, but also for others, seeking balance between the individual and the collective. Thus, by adopting the Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, we not only become better for ourselves, but also for the world around us. Every choice, every gesture, every word spoken with intention builds something bigger than us, and therein lies true greatness. In living not just to exist, but to flourish, to leave a legacy of integrity that inspires others to do the same. Part 5, Reflection and Serenity. The daily practice of Stoic meditation is fundamental. Take a few minutes to ask yourself, does this really matter? Or how will this situation help me grow? These reflections build resilience and keep you on track. Thinking that you have already won is not a fantasy, but a mental exercise that transforms the way we look at life. As Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, said, "Good living consists of living in accordance with nature." Did you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and activate the bell to receive more reflections like this. Until next time, FAQs. What is Stoicism in simple words? It is a philosophy that teaches how to deal with life with serenity, focusing on what we can control, how to apply Stoicism in everyday life, practice accepting what cannot be changed, and work on your reactions and attitudes. Why is Stoicism still relevant today? Because his teachings offer practical tools for dealing with the challenges of modern life. How does Stoic meditation work? It is a practice of reflection where you evaluate your thoughts and attitudes, seeking to align them with reason and virtue. Who are the main Stoic thinkers? Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, and Zeno of Citium. SEO optimized description. Have you ever imagined what it would be like to live as if you had already won? Stoicism teaches us that victory is not just in the results, but in the way we face challenges. In this video, we explore the foundations of this ancient philosophy, bringing lessons inspired by great thinkers such as Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. Discover how to cultivate serenity, resilience, and courage amid life's adversities, and learn how to transform your perceptions to achieve a state of inner peace. With practical examples and in-depth reflections, this video will guide you to a new level of understanding about what it means to overcome obstacles wisely. If you are looking for personal growth, emotional balance, and inspiration to face daily challenges, this content is for you. Tags: Stoicism, Stoic philosophy, Marco Aurelio Stoicism, resilience, wisdom, serenity, life lesson, personal growth, happiness, reflection, temperance, Stoic meditation, personal development, Seneca, Epictetus, mental health, Stoicism philosophy. Subscribe to the channel for more content that transforms. Don't forget to activate the bell to receive all notifications. Like and share with someone who also needs this powerful message.